Chosen one, there are things happening in your life right now that you cannot see, things that seem impossible to understand. You may be in a season where nothing makes sense, where doors appear closed and where every effort seems to lead nowhere. But hear this, God is working behind the scenes in ways beyond your comprehension. Just because you do not see it does not mean it is not happening. Just because you do not understand it does not mean it is not part of His plan. There are moments when God allows confusion to come before clarity, when He allows stillness before movement, and when He allows struggle before breakthrough. This is not to punish you, but to strengthen you. It is in these moments of uncertainty that faith is truly tested. You may feel like you are walking in the dark, trying to piece together a picture that has not yet been fully revealed. But God already sees the whole picture. He knows where He is leading you, and He knows exactly what He is doing. You were not called to understand everything. You were called to trust. Trust means moving forward even when you do not see the path clearly. Trust means believing that what is happening now is leading you to something greater. It means holding on to faith even when doubt tries to creep in. It means standing firm when everything in you wants to question, to resist, to control. But God does not need you to control. He needs you to release. He needs you to let go of your fears, your timelines, your expectations, and simply believe. You may feel stuck, like nothing is changing, like you are trapped in a cycle of waiting. The enemy wants you to believe that God has forgotten you, that your prayers have been ignored, that nothing is happening. But that is a lie. The moment you prayed, God heard you. The moment you cried out, He took action. He is moving in ways that you cannot yet see. Your blessing is not being withheld, it is being prepared. God is not late. He is aligning everything to unfold at the perfect time. Not knowing what is next is one of the hardest tests of faith. You have dreams, desires, prayers you have lifted up, but when the answers do not come immediately, doubt tries to enter your mind. You wonder if you did something wrong, if you are not worthy, if maybe what you are asking for is too big. But God does not work according to human limitations. He does not answer prayers based on worthiness, because His love and blessings are not something you earn. They are something He freely gives according to His will. When you cannot see what is coming next, the enemy will try to fill the silence with fear. He will whisper lies, telling you that you will never succeed, that you will always struggle, that nothing will ever change. But you were not created to live in fear. Fear is the language of the enemy, but faith is the language of the chosen. Faith says, even if I do not see it, I believe it is coming. Faith says, even if I do not understand, I trust that God knows what He is doing. Imagine walking into a room with no lights. At first, everything feels unfamiliar. You reach out, but there is nothing to grab onto. You take a step forward, but you cannot see where you are going. Your first instinct is to hesitate, to stop moving until you can see clearly. But what if you knew for certain that on the other side of that room was everything you had been praying for? Would you still hesitate? Would you still stand still in fear? No, you would walk forward, step by step, even if you could not see, because you would know that your blessing was waiting. That is what faith looks like: walking, trusting, believing, without seeing. Just because things are silent does not mean that nothing is happening. In fact, some of God's greatest works happen in silence. Think about a seed planted deep in the ground. For days, weeks, even months, nothing appears to be happening on the surface. But beneath the soil, something powerful is taking place. The roots are growing. The foundation is being built. The process is happening. And then, one day, what was unseen bursts through the surface. That is exactly what is happening in your life. You may not see it yet, but something is growing beneath the surface. God is building your foundation, strengthening your roots, preparing you for the moment when everything shifts. The silence is not an absence of action. It is proof that something is being developed. If you saw it too soon, if you received your blessing before you were ready, it would not be able to stand. God does not want you to have a temporary breakthrough. He wants you to have a lasting one. He does not just want to give you what you asked for. He wants to give you something even greater. Trusting in God means releasing your need for immediate results. It means surrendering to His process even when you do not understand it. It means having faith in His timing, even when everything in you wants to rush ahead. The greatest blessings come not when you force them, but when you allow them to unfold in God's perfect plan. You may be looking around and wondering why others seem to be getting ahead while you are still waiting. You may feel like you have been overlooked, like your time is never coming. But God's plan for you is not on anyone else's schedule. What is meant for you is uniquely designed for you. Your journey is different, your preparation is different, and your reward will be different. Comparison will only distract you from your own path. Instead of asking, "Why them?" start declaring, "My time is coming." Because it is. Every delay, every redirection, every season of stillness is happening for a reason. God is aligning everything in ways you cannot see. He is placing the right people in your path, the right opportunities in your future, the right blessings exactly where they need to be. If you knew what He was setting up, you would not be worried. If you could see what is coming, you would not be questioning. If you could grasp just a fraction of what God has in store, you would be celebrating instead of doubting. But that is what faith is. Trusting even when you do not have all the answers. Believing even when there is no visible proof. Walking forward even when the road is unclear. Your breakthrough is not waiting on God. God is waiting on you to trust Him completely. The moment you stop trying to control everything, the moment you stop doubting, the moment you fully surrender, that is when the shift happens. You have not been forgotten. You have not been abandoned. You are exactly where you are supposed to be, in the exact moment you are supposed to be in. The silence is not a punishment. It is a setup for something greater. Keep believing, keep moving, keep trusting, because what is coming is beyond anything you can imagine. You may have been praying for something, waiting for change, hoping for a breakthrough, but it hasn't come in the way or the time you expected. And in those moments of waiting, it's easy to question whether God is really working in your life. But God's timing is different from yours. His ways are higher, and His plan is beyond human understanding. What looks like a delay is actually divine alignment. What seems like a closed door is often a redirection towards something better. God does not operate on human schedules. He moves according to His perfect plan, and when the time is right, nothing can stop what He has set in motion. You may have thought you were ready for the blessing, but God knew you needed more preparation. Maybe there were lessons to learn, people to release, or inner growth that had to take place before you could handle what He has in store. He will not give you something before you are equipped to carry it. A premature blessing can feel like a burden. That's why God takes time to prepare you, to strengthen you, to build your faith. What He is bringing into your life is not small. It's something that will change everything, but it has to come at the right time. His timing is never off. He is never late. Every moment of waiting is an act of protection and preparation. Think about a baby developing in the womb. It cannot be born too soon or it won't survive. The mother may feel impatient, ready for the baby to arrive, but the process cannot be rushed. The baby must grow, organs must form, strength must build before birth can happen. In the same way, what God is birthing in your life must be fully developed before it is revealed. If He released it too soon, you wouldn't be able to sustain it. You must trust that every second of waiting is working for your good, shaping you for what's ahead. It's natural to feel frustrated when you don't see immediate results. You might look at others and wonder why their prayers seem to be answered faster than yours. But your journey is different. Your preparation is different. What God is bringing to you is tailor-made for you, and it cannot be rushed. If you knew the magnitude of the blessing that is on its way, you wouldn't be worried. If you could see what He has planned, you would be thanking Him for the wait. Because when it arrives, you'll realize it was worth every moment of patience. It may feel like God is silent, but silence is not absence. When a teacher gives a test, they remain quiet while the student answers the questions. God's silence does not mean He has left you. It means He is watching to see how you respond. Will you still trust Him when you don't hear Him? Will you still believe when nothing is changing? Faith is not about seeing results instantly. It's about believing in God's promises even when there is no evidence in sight. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. But in this waiting period, God wants to see if you will trust Him even when things don't go as planned. Will you hold on to His word when your reality doesn't match your expectation? Will you keep believing even when doors remain closed? That is the test of faith, and those who pass the test will see the promise fulfilled in ways beyond what they imagined. You have not been forgotten. You have not been overlooked. You are not behind. You are exactly where God wants you to be. He is orchestrating details that you cannot even begin to see. Right now, in this very moment, things are shifting in your favor. People are being positioned, opportunities are aligning, doors are preparing to open. It is all happening behind the scenes, but soon it will be visible. What looks like a setback is really a setup. What seems like a closed door is actually a gateway to something better. What you thought was a failure is actually part of a bigger victory. God is aligning everything perfectly. If He allowed something to be removed from your life, it's because it wasn't meant to be there when your blessing arrives. If He closed a door, it's because He has a better one prepared for you. Stop fighting what He is removing. Stop clinging to what He has already called finished. Let go of what was, so you can receive what is coming. The things you've been praying for will arrive in a way you never expected. That's why you cannot rely on your own understanding. What seems impossible now will make perfect sense later. You will look back at this season and realize that God had a plan all along. Every no was leading to a bigger yes. Every delay was making room for something greater. Every challenge was building the strength you would need for the next level. Faith means walking forward even when you don't know the outcome. It means trusting that God has already gone ahead of you and prepared the way. It means surrendering your own plans and allowing His plan to unfold. You do not need to know how it will happen. You only need to believe that it will. God has never failed you before, and He will not start now. He is still in control. He is still making a way. He is still the God of miracles. And soon you will see what He has been preparing for you all this time. There is nothing happening in your life right now that God has not already accounted for. Every delay, every unexpected turn, every unanswered prayer, it is all part of His divine plan. Even the moments that feel like setbacks are actually positioning you for something greater. Nothing is wasted in God's hands. The pain, the struggles, the uncertainty, it all serves a purpose. What you see as obstacles, God sees as opportunities to build your faith and prepare you for the blessings ahead. You may not understand why certain things had to happen the way they did, but one day you will look back and realize that God was guiding you all along. The relationships that ended, the doors that closed, the prayers that seemed unanswered, none of it was by accident. God does not make mistakes. He removes what is not meant for you. He protects you from things you didn't even know were dangerous, and He redirects you when you are heading down the wrong path. If something left your life, it was because it was never part of your destiny. If a door did not open, it was because God had a better one prepared for you. There are moments in life when everything feels out of control, when nothing makes sense, and when doubt tries to creep in. But this is exactly where faith comes in. Faith is not about trusting when things are easy. It is about believing when things are hard. It is about walking forward, even when you cannot see where the road leads. It is about trusting that God is still in control, even when everything around you feels uncertain. God is calling you to a higher level of faith. He is asking you to release control, to stop trying to figure everything out, and to simply trust Him. You were not created to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. You were not meant to live in constant worry, trying to force things to happen on your own. God wants you to rest in Him. He wants you to surrender your fears, your doubts, and your anxieties. The more you try to control, the more exhausted you will become. But the moment you let go and trust, you will find peace. There is a reason why God has not revealed everything to you yet. If you knew every detail of His plan, you might try to take matters into your own hands. You might try to rush the process, to move ahead before the time is right. But God is protecting you from stepping into something prematurely. He is shielding you from things that are not meant for you. His timing is perfect, and when He moves, everything will happen exactly as it is supposed to. What you are waiting for is already on its way. The breakthrough, the blessing, the answer to your prayers, it is coming. It may not look the way you expected, but it will be exactly what you need. God is aligning everything at the right time, in the right way, for the right purpose. You may not see it yet, but it is already happening. He is working behind the scenes, setting things into motion, making a way where there seems to be no way. Faith is not about seeing, it is about believing. It is about trusting that what God has spoken will come to pass, even when there is no evidence yet. It is about knowing that He is faithful, that He never breaks His promises, and that He always fulfills His word. If He said it, He will do it. If He promised it, it will happen. Your only job is to believe. Stop worrying about how things will work out. Stop trying to predict every step of the journey. God already knows the way. He has already gone before you, preparing the path. Your only task is to walk in faith, to keep moving forward, to trust that every step is leading you closer to your destiny. You were chosen for a reason. You were set apart for something greater. The waiting is not wasted. The silence is not empty. God is preparing you, molding you, and strengthening you for what is coming. The best is not behind you. It is ahead of you. And when the time is right, everything will come together in ways that you never expected. You cannot conceive what God is about to do in your life, but you do not have to. Trust Him, believe Him, keep your faith strong, and watch as He moves in ways beyond your imagination. The blessing is coming, the breakthrough is on its way. And soon you will see that every moment of waiting, every prayer, every struggle, it was all leading you to something greater than you ever dreamed.